What happens when four friends venture into a forest where sound itself begins to die, and something ancient waits in the crushing silence that follows? This story will challenge everything you think you know about fear, and by the end, you'll understand why some places should remain completely untouched. Eric first mentioned the silent zone during our camping planning session, describing it as an old local rumor about a part of the forest where no sound exists. We desperately needed a break from the constant hum of city life, the relentless stress and endless notifications. We'd been camping for years, always chasing that freedom only nature could offer. But this time we wanted something truly remote. Rachel rolled her eyes, her voice dripping with skepticism as she said it sounds like superstition. Eric had found the spot on obscure hiking forums. It wasn't on any official maps. A remote patch of national forest where few hikers dare to venture. The legend had a strange appeal, a break from constant noise, exactly what we were desperately seeking. The drive led us deeper into the forest, trees growing denser as we left civilization behind. By the time we parked, our car felt out of place. Eric pointed at a barely visible trail, cutting through the brush. Rachel checked her phone. No signal, completely off the grid. We began hiking, the mood light as we joked about going off the map. Rachel continued to mock the silent zone legend. Maybe the silence will swallow us whole, she joked. Eric led confidently down the narrow path. For hours, the forest felt normal. Leaves rustled, birds chirped, boots crunched against packed earth. Everything was peaceful. As the sun set, we made camp, miles from any road with endless wilderness around us. Familiar forest sounds played in the background. But as we sat around the fire, I noticed something deeply unsettling. "You guys hear that?" I asked. "It's quieter than before." Eric paused, listening. The usual forest sounds had grown mysteriously distant. "We're probably just deeper in," he said. "Normal for it to get quieter at night." The tension lingered, the silence creeping in around our consciousness like a living thing. The next morning, we continued deeper into the mysterious forest, hiking for hours, the trail fainter, trees closer together. The oppressive quiet settled around us like a suffocating blanket. By midday, we walked in near silence. Megan stopped, her face tight with concern. "Seriously, do you guys feel that? It's like the air is pressing down with incredible weight." Eric waved us on. "We're close to the area I read about, probably just geography. It'll pass." But the forest grew, unnaturally quieter. Birds stopped singing, wind died, even footsteps lost their natural sound. By our second campsite, the silence was physically palpable. No wind, no animals, just oppressive quiet closing in. "Okay," Rachel muttered, her voice a desperate whisper. "This is getting really weird." If you're enjoying this terrifying journey, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support gives this channel strength to bring more spine-chilling stories. Don't forget to check the description for our giveaway contest. As we sat by the fire, silence swallowed the crackling flames, as if the forest had absorbed everything. The next morning, sounds faded gradually, not all at once, until it was hard to tell if the forest was getting mysteriously quieter. By noon, it was impossible to ignore. Silence was thick, pressing against skin, ears straining for any noise. No birds, no wind, no leaves rustling, just soft boot crunches, except even that was gradually fading. The forest was systematically swallowing everything. Megan spoke, her voice too loud in dead air. "It's weird, right? Like there's no sound at all. Deeply unsettling," she said, voice trembling with fear. Eric tried keeping things light. You're letting the story get to you, probably imagining it because we're thinking about it too much. But he couldn't hide the creeping unease in his strained voice. By evening, the silence was impossible to deny, oppressive like a weight on the chest, making it harder to breathe normally. Even fire flames seemed unnaturally quieter. Rachel sat across from me, face lit by flickering firelight. This doesn't feel right. I've been in quiet forests, but this is too quiet. Every time we spoke, it felt fundamentally wrong, like voices didn't belong in this cursed place. I kept glancing into darkness, feeling something constantly watching from shadows, the quiet messing with my head. Moving on next day, none wanted to admit the sense of impending dread growing stronger. Silence wasn't just eerie. It felt genuinely, physically dangerous, wrapping tighter every minute. Megan slowed frantically, face tense with visible terror. "You guys hear that?" Voice sounding dull, swallowed by oppressive air. For a split second I heard it too. A snap, twig breaking, sound that should be completely impossible in this dead zone. But forest went absolutely silent again. We stood still, waiting, listening for any sign of life. Minutes later, something strange happened. We passed through a small clearing where trees parted, natural sunlight bleeding through. Air felt different, lighter, like stepping into a different world. Then I heard my own footsteps. For the first time in hours, boot crunches sounded like real sound. Megan's eyes widened, stomping lightly. "You heard that right," she whispered with desperate hope. I tried too, noise faint, but there. After so much crushing silence, it was deafening. We stood hopeful for the first time, but silence crashed back with devastating force. Moment passed, like windows slamming shut, everything unnaturally quiet again. Eric smiled weakly, just a weird spot, picking up pace with desperate urgency. For a second we had real sound, but silence pressed harder as we left that miraculous spot. That night silence was absolutely crushing again, fire crackling softly but completely faint, like being systematically muted. Megan went quiet, eyes locked beyond firelight, body tense, ready to run for life. "What is it?" I asked, voice too loud in suffocating silence. She pointed toward trees where shadows flickered. I thought I saw something, probably imagination. Eric laughed, but sounded completely unconvincing. Longer we sat, stronger the feeling we weren't alone. When we crawled into tents, silence felt more oppressive. I lay staring up, straining to hear anything, but absolutely nothing. Just crushing weight of complete silence. Next morning, stepping from camp, silence had deepened, worse than ever. Air thick, heavy, pressing like suffocating blanket. Rachel broke oppressive silence, anyone else having trouble breathing normally. Even breaths felt shallow, air not reaching desperate lungs. When I tried speaking, voice fought to break through something dense. Eric leading, but tension in shoulders hadn't been there. Kept moving, but getting increasingly harder. Silence inside us now, pressing on lungs, muffling voices, dulling thoughts. Every sound swallowed almost instantly. Maybe we should turn back immediately. Eric shot look, eyes narrowed with stubborn determination. We've come this far, close to summit, finished the hike. Further we went, worse it got, silence spreading, following, maybe actively growing with each step. Any noise swallowed so fast felt completely unnatural. Wasn't echo, nothing bounced back. Sound just died instantly. Rachel tried talking, but words felt distant, like through thick wall of glass. Felt like we weren't there anymore. Stopped for break, setting packs under towering trees. Megan froze, eyes locked on distance. "I saw it again," she whispered, voice shaking with absolute terror, pointing toward trees, face completely pale. Something moved. I followed gaze, scanning tree line. Then I saw it clearly. A shape, elongated, dark, moving between trees, quick and completely silent, slipped from sight but enough to send heart racing with terror. "We need to leave immediately," Rachel opened the mouth, but no sound came out. Lips moved, but nothing. Panic flashed in eyes. Could barely breathe. Forest had taken not just sound, but AIR itself. Eric standing still, eyes wide with terror. We made way back toward camp, trekking toward starting point. That night fire crackled mutely. Flames danced, but sound barely whisper against overwhelming stillness. Sat huddled together, no one speaking. Megan kept looking over shoulder, could feel it too. Something out there, lurking, constantly watching every terrified movement. "We need to go now." Hasn't attacked, but don't know what it wants. Need to leave immediately before too late. Eric didn't respond, staring into flames like hypnotic trance. Finally shook head. "We can't, not in dark." But staying felt infinitely more dangerous. Silence so heavy, complete, couldn't talk about it properly. Crushing us under suffocating weight, beyond flickering light, something patiently waiting. That night intent, didn't sleep, silence completely unbearable, pressing on ears and chest. Worse than silence was feeling we weren't alone, could feel it out there, waiting for something terrible. Woke before dawn, unzipped tent, cold air hit, glanced at tents, eyes landed on Megan's empty sleeping bag. Rest of gear still there, boots, pack, everything where she left it. Called name but voice felt muted. No answer. Minutes later, frantically searching, but nothing. No leaving signs, no footprints, no broken branches, no struggle signs, just crushing silence surrounding desperate search. Rachel pacing frantically, breath coming faster. Where did she go? Wouldn't just leave, Eric suggested. Maybe wandered off, but without boots, would have said something. Searched for hours, calling desperately, voices swallowed whole, nothing at all, like wiped away, erased from world without trace. Panic hit Rachel first, barely holding together. Eric tried calming, just need to stay focused. Voice barely controlled, but couldn't stay, not after last night. Then I saw it clearly. First thought shadow, but staring, realized moving, tall, grotesque figure beyond camp edge. "Eric," I whispered, barely forming words. "See that terrifying thing?" Followed gaze, sucked sharp breath. Just standing there, still as death, watching us with intensity, making skin crawl, body twisted, despite size, made no sound. Rachel turned, face completely pale. Creature didn't move, didn't step closer, just watched patiently. Eric grabbed rock, hurled at thing, but when hit, no sound, no impact, noise, just sight falling to ground. Silence swallowed everything. Thing didn't flinch, react, just stood, shrouded in shadow. Then suddenly, as appeared, turned, slipped back into trees, disappearing into dark. We stood frozen, weight of silence, heavier than ever. Rachel trembling. "We have to go, right now." Eric didn't argue, moved to tree line, ready to follow trail back. "I see something," I muttered, stepped closer, saw clearly. A jacket, Megan's jacket, looked discarded on what appeared dried-up log. When pulled, yanked up. Saw wasn't wood at all, but dried-up remains of Megan herself, sucked dry from all moisture. How that happened in hours was beyond comprehension. Rachel's breath hitched, stumbled forward, hand shaking. Eric grabbed her shoulders. "We have to go, Rachel. Megan's gone, can't stay. Saw that thing. We'll die if don't leave immediately." Rachel nodded, eyes wide, completely glazed, packed in silence. Couldn't get image of Megan's remains from head. Eric led way, moving faster, but felt like fighting forest. Every step harder, like ground sucking us in. Lungs burned, struggling for air that didn't exist. Silence, absolutely unbearable. Started running. Didn't feel like running, more like moving through terrible nightmare. Everything disoriented, world working against us. Then I stumbled. Foot caught something, hit ground hard, no sound, not even thud of body hitting earth. Tried pushing up but felt silence pulling down, suffocating, called for Eric, Rachel, but nothing came. Silence swallowed voice whole. Looked up. Something in trees. Tall grotesque shadow watching from edge. Creature following, watching struggle, waiting for right moment. Tried screaming but nothing came out. Could feel body pulled down into earth, into suffocating void. Eric and Rachel already too far. Forest closing around them. Couldn't bear being left. Heaved with might. Got one knee under, with Olympic lifter effort, performed hardest squat of life to stand. All while creature watching at tree-line edge, stumbled slowly, picked up fastest pace could manage, determined to catch Eric and Rachel, light bleeding through trees, dawn, but silence suffocating, heavier than ever. Ahead saw Eric and Rachel barely moving, each step like wading thick mud, trees thinning, but didn't matter. Silence inside us now, crushing weight no daylight could lift. Then Rachel collapsed, 1 second walking, next hit ground. No sound, not even thud, face looked gaunt, like hadn't eaten days. Eric stopped gasping, bent to pull up. Could see in face, losing it, hands shaking, breaths shallow, desperate. Tried lifting, but silence seemed clinging. We're not going to make it, I thought. Silence wasn't letting go. Eric crouched over Rachel, trying to get to feet. I staggered over, legs burning, barely holding up. "We have to get her up," I gasped. Couldn't hear own words. Looked at me, panic flashing eyes. "I can't," voice whisper though new, shouting. For second thought going to leave her, but something flickered in Eric's eyes. Determination or desperation. Wasn't giving up. Grabbed Rachel's shoulders, I moved to help. Heaved her up, but body heavy. Too heavy, like silence wrapped around her. Every inch lifted, felt forest pulled back, glanced behind, expecting creature but shadow gone. That was almost worse. Couldn't see but could feel closing in, pressing from all sides like silence alive. Eric still pulling Rachel along, body limp, barely standing, wasn't far behind but legs felt like lead. Creature close, couldn't see but knew there, hidden beyond vision edges, watching us stumble through trees like prey. Rachel fell again, collapsing knees. Thud made no sound. Eric dropped beside, face contorted panic. "Have to keep moving," Eric muttered, voice shaking, trying pull to feet but too heavy. Tried thinking back when body felt light, trying mentally motivate. Suddenly thought flashed mind. The clearing, from other day where silence broke just second, brief, barely noticeable, but now felt only hope. Sound returned there, even if moments scanned area, eyes darting through trees, then saw it. Route leading same clearing ahead, highlighted by light rays penetrating canopy, wasn't far past cluster, towering trees. "Eric," I hissed, voice barely audible. "The clearing, up ahead. Have to go there." Eric looked confused, frantic. "What talking about? Need get away. Not further in," but didn't have time explain, grabbed Rachel's other arm. Half dragged, half carried toward clearing. Creature closing in. Could feel it. Silence growing denser every step. Chest felt tight, head pounding from pressure, but pushed forward. Didn't have choice. Broke through trees into clearing. For split second, just like before. Heard it. Faintest sound. Boots crunching dirt. Rachel's ragged breaths, too loud in oppressive quiet. Silence weaker here, Eric panting, eyes wild with fear. What do we do? Can't stay here. I placed Rachel down using place let rest. Lowering her, heard loud rattling as hit ground. Looked down at metal canister on Rachel's back, hands trembling, pulled off. Water bottle, heavy metallic, didn't know if would work, but out of options, slammed against ground. Clang rang sharp, clear, cutting through quiet like knife. Faint, but real sound. For a moment, everything stilled. Even oppressive silence seemed recoil, like couldn't fully suppress noise. "Do it again," Eric gasped, pulling metal pot from pack, slammed against water bottle, creating echoing metallic clang. Again sound cut through, barely but there. Air around shuddered like silence retreating. Felt pressure on chest ease slightly. Creature been closing but now held back. Could almost sense lurking beyond clearing edge, waiting for sound to fade. "We need more noise," I muttered, voice hoarse. Grabbed rock, threw against nearby tree, made dull thud but something. Eric followed suit, banging tree with whatever could find, creating almost rhythmic clatter. Each sound made seemed push silence back little further. Rachel, barely conscious, stirred, eyes fluttering. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "We're making noise," I said, voice trembling. "Only way, keep it back." Silence wasn't gone, but weakened it. Creature still out there, watching, waiting for moment noise stopped. But as long kept hitting, slamming rocks, metal together, holding at bay. "Move," I yelled, voice cracking but audible. "Have to get to road now." Eric and I helped Rachel to feet, staggering out clearing. Didn't dare look back. Kept moving, hitting rocks against trees as went. Sounds faint but steady, keeping silence at bay just long enough. Long journey made hard by constant need makes sound, but eventually broke through. Moment stepped onto road like veil lifted. Silence shattered all at once. Sound came rushing back. Wind in trees, distant chirping birds, own ragged breaths. Hit us like wave, disorienting, overwhelming but real. Collapsed onto asphalt, gasping air, feeling solid ground beneath. Weight of silence gone, lifted. Turned, look back at tree line, half expecting creature follow. But nothing, no shadows, movement, just forest. Still quiet, but not like before. Not that crushing, deadly quiet. Rachel lying beside, breathing heavily, face pale but alive. Eric sat behind, hands shaking, eyes wide with adrenaline. "We made it," he muttered, voice hoarse. "We made it out." I nodded, but sense of dread didn't fully lift. Even staring at trees, we escaped. But forest, silence, still there, waiting, lurking just beyond the edge. Key.